The air was thick with mist as Clara stepped onto the narrow path leading into the old woods. It was said the forest had a mind of its own, shifting and turning when you weren't looking, swallowing travelers whole. But Clara was not superstitious. She was there for a weekend of solitude to connect with nature, away from the noise of the city. As she walked deeper, the trees grew denser, their twisted branches clawing at the sky like gnarled fingers. A chill settled in her bones, but she pressed on, determined to reach a small clearing she had heard about. With each step, the sunlight seemed to fade, shadows stretching and pulling at her perception of time. She came to a clearing, its center dominated by a gnarled old tree. The bark cracked like old leather, and something about it drew her in. Kneeling beside it, she noticed what seemed to be markings, symbols carved into the wood, symbols that looked both familiar and distant. Clara traced a finger along one, feeling a shiver run up her spine as it pulsed beneath her touch, as if alive. Suddenly, she heard a rustling. The sound was distant, but echoed louder, and she turned, scanning the tree line for movement. A low, whispering voice filled the air, beckoning her with soft, melodic tones. Join us, it sang rhythmically, like a lullaby. Her heart raced, fear gnawed at her thoughts, pushing her instincts to flee. But curiosity anchored her feet to the ground. The whispers grew more insistent. Stay with us, they called, gently promising warmth, a sense of belonging. She stepped back, the fog thickening around her, weaving in and out of her vision. Shadows danced, shifting, and through them, glowing eyes emerged. Dozens of them, staring and blinking in unison as if they had been waiting for her. Clara's mind raced, her logical thoughts battling against a primal urge drawing her closer. The tree loomed ominously, and she could almost feel its hunger, an insatiable craving. Stay, the voice whispered, wrapping around her like silk, binding her with unseen threads. As she fell to her knees, captivated, the shadows swirled closer. Only then did she notice their forms, twisted figures made of bark and stone, merging with the mist. They reached for her, but not with hands. They extended tendrils of smoke that coiled around her wrists like shackles, tugging her toward the tree. She gasped, struggling to resist. The markings on the tree pulsed aggressively now, the whispers rising to a cacophony. Join us, Clara. Become one of us. Panic surged through her as she fought against their grasp, her arms straining as they pulled. With an adrenaline-fueled scream, Clara broke free and raced back down the path, her chest heaving, the whispers trailing off into angry hisses behind her. But beyond the clearing, the forest felt different. The path twisted underfoot, the trees closing in as if mocking her escape. Clara's heart pounded as she ran headlong, but no matter how fast she ran, the trees merely shifted, confounding her sense of direction, leading her deeper rather than closer to freedom. As night fell, the mist thickened into a shroud, smothering her with darkness. Desperation clawed at her throat. She could hear them, those whispers, calling her name softly now, laced with a familiar intimacy, weaving into her mind, planting seeds of doubt. Clara, you belong with us, it insisted in a voice she swore she recognized. You can't escape. Then, through the disorienting fog, she caught sight of something bright, a flickering light. Something in her soul stirred with hope as she sprinted towards it, but as she burst through the brush, she froze. It was the clearing again, with that old tree, its branches forming twisted hands reaching out, welcoming her back. The pulse of the tree slowed, and the forest fell silent, allowing a deep, suffocating peace to envelop her. The shadows encircled her once more, and she felt a heaviness in her heart, a creeping acceptance. Join us, they sang, now in perfect harmony. For in the darkness of that ancient woods, Clara wasn't fleeing, but returning, the pulse of the tree syncing with her own. As her thoughts faded, the last remnants of her identity slipping away, a voice as soft as morning mist whispered, "Welcome home,